Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Apparel Academy. In this episode, we're going to talk about hiring and how to grow your business with the right hires. So today I'm going to give you my framework and philosophy on how I go about hiring the right employees for my business and how you can apply that too for your custom apparel business. At the time when I first joined Ricoma, we were right about 9 to 10 employees total. Now, since that time, we have grown to over 50 to 55 employees total here at our headquarters. And throughout that time, I've had to interview a lot of people and make a lot of hires. Now, obviously, there were good hires and bad hires along the way, but I found that this framework was the guiding principle behind conducting these interviews and doing the ongoing selection for the candidates that we want to bring into our different teams and to further scale the business. So jumping right in, I just want to quickly note two things before I give you the framework on how I go about hiring the right employees. The first thing to know is that there's no perfect hire. So don't spend all your time looking for that perfect candidate because you're not going to find it, and that's just going to prolong your hiring cycle and not get you the right pieces in place when you need it. The second thing to note is that for me personally, when I look for a hire, I tend to look for those that are coachable and trainable and can grow rather than those with extensive experience. This second point is super important because it really widens your pool of candidates. And again, going back to point number one, you're not looking for that perfect candidate with the right tenure, with the right amount of experience, but rather someone with potential that can really grow into the role that you're hiring for. Similarly, here at Ricoma, when we were trying to hire candidates for our service team, we were having trouble finding experienced candidates with specific experience in the embroidery machine field. So what we decided to do was broaden the pool of candidates that we would interview and select those that are handy and are technically inclined, and then we invested in developing a training program that can get someone with no embroidery experience to be an embroidery expert with the right steps. Obviously, they had to have the fundamentals of being technically inclined and obviously motivated enough to learn this craft. But obviously, it is much easier to find those traits in a pool of candidates than finding someone with specific experience in the industry. So with those two traits in mind, I'm going to give you the framework that I call the hiring trifecta, which breaks down the traits that you should look for when hiring for your business. So jumping right into trait number one, I always tend to look for people who are motivated. Do they genuinely want to be here to grow the business with you? Do they really want to achieve and genuinely have an interest in your industry or your business? As a business owner, it's important to know the different motivations of the different candidates that you hire so that you can incentivize them to do their best. Now, I believe that this first trait is super important because motivation can't really be taught. Now, on the job, you can teach the different skills, or with time, you can get experience and you can have hands-on training on the job to learn the in and outs of what they need to do. But motivation is not something that can be taught. It is something that is intrinsic with the hire that you bring into your business. Now, some ways that you can gauge a candidate's motivation is in the interview process by asking them what kind of roles they played in the past and see if they took on any sort of leadership role or a big role in any project and shows their results or track record. Now, the second trait in the hiring trifecta is whether the candidate is capable. Now, when I mean capable to the specific responsibilities that the candidate will be doing in the role that you're hiring for. For example, obviously, if you're looking for a machine operator for your embroidery business, you should really find a capable operator that knows how to hoop, how to clean up the garments after they're finished, and how to run an embroidery machine so you can keep a smooth production flow going. And the way to really spot how capable a candidate is in the interview process, you can ask questions that are directly related to the responsibilities that they'll be doing on the job. Now, these are not kind of these personality questions or other types of soft skill questions because you are trying to test whether they're capable of doing their job. So the only way to test that in an interview process is by asking direct questions related to the job they'll be doing. You can also give a test during the interview process to really see if the candidate has the past experience that are directly related to the job that they'll be doing. You can even ask an embroidery machine operator that you're hiring to hoop a garment that you do regularly to see if they actually know how to hoop it properly and observe their techniques during the interview process. Now, obviously, in a 30 to 45-minute interview, it is difficult to gauge the capability or competence of a hire, and it's really on the job that they're seeing how well they do with their responsibilities. But many times an interview process can weed out the candidates that are not a good fit and at least get a baseline or a benchmark for the types of candidates that you want to bring in for a specific role. Now, once you've decided to hire this candidate and bring them onto your team, it is super important to continue to invest in training and ongoing development to ensure and observe that this candidate is doing the job properly. Finally, the last point in the hiring trifecta is how loyal a candidate is. Loyalty is super important because it really determines your turnover rate in the long run as you continue to scale your business. Obviously, as your business scales, there could be higher turnover, but minimizing that is going to save you cost and save you time to continuously hire new employees and train them. Now, loyalty is hard to gauge in an interview process, but you can get a glimpse of it through a candidate's resume. By looking at how long a candidate has stayed with previous employers in different roles, you can have a good understanding of how loyal a candidate is and how often they jump around at different roles. So now that we have covered the 3 important traits to look for in this hiring trifecta, what happens when a candidate only has 2 out of those 3 traits? For example, if a candidate is motivated and capable, but they're not loyal, then you'll really get temporary results because they'll only be at the company for so long and you might get results for a limited time. If a candidate is motivated and they're loyal, but they're not capable, then you're really getting lackluster results, right? Because they're not capable of doing their job, but they're super motivated to do it and they'll stay with the company long term, but you just can't get the quality work out of them. Finally, if a candidate is capable and loyal, but they're not motivated, you're really gonna get inconsistent results because the moment that you push them, they're gonna perform because they're capable and they'll stick around for a long time, but they're just not consistently motivated enough to drive consistent results for your business. So these type of employees are the ones that you have to constantly stay on top of and continuously push them to drive results. Now, in the chance that you find a candidate with all 3 of these traits, then they're really what I consider a rock star. Because meeting all 3 of these traits is the perfect balance of motivation, of competence, and of loyalty to drive consistent and long-term growth for your business. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoy this content and follow this framework of the hiring trifecta in growing your embroidery or custom apparel business. If you have any questions about this topic, feel free to comment below. And again, if you like content like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. I also want to remind you, if you haven't done so already, to join our free Facebook group, Embroidery and Custom Apparel Mastery, where you can join over 10,000 embroiderers and custom apparel tech creators in there and ask questions and engage in the community. With that said, hope you guys like this content and see you guys next time.